Hey guys, I thought I'd pick up where we left off and continue our little series on things you can do with your Wersi. So we had this little picture we posted of MIDI in and out, and we had a few comments and people saying, well, what can I do with MIDI? So let's take a very simple look at it. So let's take a little bit closer look at our picture and notice up top under MIDI 1, there's an in, a through, and an out, and we have a cable plugged into the out port. So you're going to hear me mention MIDI 1 out more than once in these next couple of videos. We'll talk about MIDI in on the MIDI 2 side a little bit later in a different video. But for now, let's see where the other end of this out cable goes. If you watched the first video in this series, recall I talked about doing things from my Mac. You could be a PC guy, doesn't matter. I'm a Mac guy. So we have an audio interface connected to our Mac. In our case, we're using a Focusrite. And if you look at the bottom picture, look, it has MIDI in and MIDI out. Now, if you guessed MIDI in on the Focusrite as the connection point, you would be correct. So MIDI out of the Sonic goes to MIDI in on our interface on our computer. So if you're going to mess around with this MIDI stuff, let me show you one little thing that might come in handy. We run something called MIDI Monitor. There's a bunch of different tools out there that will do this, but it will basically capture the data MIDI data coming in and out of your computer, so you can see what's going on. So let me just hit a couple of keys, and you can tell there that I played a C3. And I hit it at a velocity 66. It was on MIDI channel 1, the device it came from, that kind of stuff. If I move another control, let me see if I go over here. There you go. I moved an expression pedal, went from 126 down to 110 and back up. So this comes in handy when you're having trouble so you can figure out what the heck's going wrong. Let's switch back to the organ view of this and figure out how do I tell the organ to send information, MIDI information, out that MIDI connection. By default, when you're playing and pushing buttons and doing things on the organ, it's routing the MIDI internally and playing sounds in the organ. So let's take upper one. Notice we have a vibe on there today. Let's go to sounds and let's go to user sounds, user, MIDI out. And notice MIDI out 1, remember our picture out 1, and we want it to go on channel 1. So let's load that sound. And now we have a voice here called MIDI out 1, channel 1. So let's switch back over to the Mac side of things. We have a virtual guitar loaded. Notice it's running in Contact, and it's something called the Electric Ruby. Nice guitar. And so now when we play on the organ, remember we're going out of MIDI out 1, which goes to MIDI in on our audio interface, which now triggers our virtual guitar. And here we go. We really just barely scratched the surface of what could be done, but again, a very simple example of using MIDI out of OAX to MIDI in on an external device. It could be hardware or software, doesn't matter who makes it, but it lets you access other sounds directly from OAX. Share your thoughts, either comment here on the video or back in the Facebook group, and let's discuss if this is useful information or not. Thanks for watching.